Let's make a meal to feed a family of 4 for a £5, and today we're going to Waitrose. Right, let's see what we can get. Let's get the most expensive thing out of the way, the meat. Let's get some pork mince for £2.50. Some plain flour for 45p. We've got 4 large potatoes and they are £1.20. We've got 3 onions and that is 37p. And we've got 2 large carrots for 43p. Not gonna lie, this one was the hardest one yet. I've been in here for quite a while, but let's go and see how much it costs. So altogether that comes to £4.95. Here's all my ingredients and here's my receipt for £4.95. Let's make pork meatballs and onion gravy with mash. So I'm going to start off by doing my meatballs. So I'm just going to chuck my mince in. Let's add some salt and pepper. And some garlic granules. Time to get the hands dirty. Let's give it all a good mix and mush together. I'm going to do my meatballs around this sort of size. So I'm just going to grab some of the mince and just roll it into a ball. So I'm just going to set these aside and start with my carrots. These are literally the chunkiest carrots I think I've ever seen. Anyway, so we're going to peel our carrots. Just going to cut those knobbly bits off on each side. Cut my carrot into half and now I'm going to cut some slices. Once they're sliced, you want to cut some battens. This is the kind of thickness I've gone for. Do not waste any of those scraps that we've got because we're going to make some vegetable stock. So grab your scraps, chuck it into a pot. Now I'm just going to peel my potatoes. Again, same with these scraps, don't waste them, chuck them in the pot. So my potatoes are all cut, I've put them in some cold water in a pot and I'm just going to put that side on the stove until I'm ready to boil them. As you can see, I've roughly cut up my onions and all the scraps I'm going to put into the pot as well. Now I'm going to put my boiling water in over my scraps, just enough to cover the scraps. Now I'm going to add a good pinch of salt and some pepper. If you have got any rosemary and thyme at home, that would work really well in here as well. Put that on high and let it come to the boil. I have a lot of leftover garlic from all the £5 meals I made, so I'm actually going to put some of these in here as well. If you don't have it, it's absolutely fine, it will work just as well on its own. Once that's come to the boil, you want to knock that down to a simmer, chuck the lid on and leave that for about an hour. Now time for the carrots. I'm just going to pop them in a dish. Going to add some oil. Just going to give them a mix round to coat them in that oil. Now I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Now I'm just going to give them a mix so they've all got salt and pepper on. Now I'm just going to pop these in the oven at 180 degrees for around 30 to 35 minutes or until it's all cooked through. Now time to cook our meatballs. So I've got some oil in my pan and I've put my pan on in between a medium and a high heat. So I'm just going to pop those in now. Just going to let those cook and brown a little bit at the bottom before I turn them over. Now you just want to cook those meatballs through until they're browned off. About halfway through you just want to give those carrots a turn. My meatballs are ready, so I'm just going to take those out of the pan. Same pan that you just cooked your meat in, chuck in your onions. Put my pan between a medium and low heat and I'm just going to cook these for around 10 to 20 minutes or until they're really nice and soft. My potatoes are boiling, I've strained my vegetable stock. Now I'm going to add a tablespoon of flour to the onions. Just going to let that cook for a minute. Now I'm going to add in 500 ml of the vegetable stock. Now we're just going to cook that through for a few minutes so the gravy thickens. Gravy's almost ready, so now I'm going to add some salt and pepper and some garlic granules. So I'm just going to chuck my meatballs back in with the gravy and I'm going to cook those for around 10 minutes. Why did I think it was a good idea to do a meal like this in a jumper? I am sweating my fucking tits off. Anyway, so my potatoes are done now. I've let them steam dry for a little bit. I'm just going to chuck them in my pot. I've got a new tool. Let's see if it's any good. Obviously, season your mash with what you want. I'm actually not going to put anything in it. I'm just going to add a little bit of hot milk. Now I know my presentation is not the best, but it's not about what it looks like, it's about what it tastes like. So let's give it a taste test. Cheers. That is real comfort food.